It's all about the money, honey, on this week's episode of the Younger After Show. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Younger After Show. I am your host, Sahai Wilson, and welcome to AfterBuzz Comedies. Tonight, we are going to be talking all things Liza, Josh, Charles, Kelsey. Everyone tonight was in the episode and it was great. But first, let me introduce you to my lovely panelists this evening. Hello, Taylor.
Hello. So excited to be here sharing this with you and you alone.
Welcome back. Thank you. Thank you. It's just us chickens tonight hanging out.
We'll hold down this fort.
Yes. Taylor's going to be doing our Younger-ism segment. We'll also have some news and gossip for you, some predictions. So let's get right into it.
Yeah.
This episode, loved it. What were your thoughts?
I loved it too. I really like this direction they're going with Infinitely 21, which is such a funny parody of Forever 21. I think that's so clever. And then again, like I've been saying it a lot, but I feel like this season we've gotten so much like workplace politics and, you know, the hierarchical structure of millennial, which is just so interesting to me. And I love they've taken that in that direction.
Yeah.
And we got so much of that today and I loved it.
Yes. We also got my favorite twosome, Diana and Lauren.
So good.
I love them together. We'll start with that.
Yeah.
We saw Diana and Lauren in the office talking about the wedding dress fitting, which is going to be at Kleinfeld's, which was exciting. If you are a watcher of Say Yes to the Dress, you know that's where they film all those episodes.
Yeah.
Did you know?
Oh, yeah. And fun fact, Sutton Foster actually got her wedding dress on Say Yes to the Dress. So I was like, oh, that's cute. It kind of ties in with reality a little bit.
Yes, loving that. We also see Lauren, you know, she's not only a publicist, she's also a wedding planner. And we know a Lauren event is an event that you want to be at. So this Diana wedding, it's going to be off the chain.
Oh, just incredible. Because we also have just Diana's iconic style.
Amazing.
It's going to be so good.
Right? Diana's style with Lauren's like mind for special events.
With Enzo's food.
And crazy family.
I'm ready for this. I'm so ready for this.
It's going to be really good. So, you know, Lauren helps her plan for this trip to Kleinfeld's, and then we see them at Kleinfeld's later where by this time Liza joins them, and she has her own issues, which we'll get into. But when you saw Diana walk out in that dress, did it not warm your heart?
It did, but I agree with Lauren that I think that she needs something bigger and better because she always is dressed so beautifully and always has these amazing statement jewelry and dresses, and it felt kind of like something she would just wear to the office to me. So I agree. I think we need to go big and bold and get it right this time because, you know, this relationship is obviously right for her, I think.
I know. It was so funny because you could see her kind of reflecting on her previous marriage and how that went wrong. So when Lauren went to look for her jumpsuit, which wouldn't be bad because I love a jumpsuit for a wedding. I think it's definitely very chic. When Liza said, hey, you should maybe do something different this time because you found the right one. I thought that was really sweet.
I did too, and I agree. And I love how they're both, well, I mean, we'll get into it with Liza, but they're both like in a place that's good for them, you know? They're like, oh, this feels right this time because they both have that bond of things not working out the first time. So it's nice that they're like having that like second life almost and being like revitalized by like these new people that they mesh better with.
And then you know what I realized? You have two divorced women talking to each other from these places of experience. You know, remember just a couple episodes back, Diana was speaking to Liza as if she was a young 20-something who'd never experienced life, but now they're able to communicate and connect on this like level. We're both mature women in our 40s that have been divorced and have lived.
That's such a good point because their relationship has already sort of evolved since that like a beautiful scene a couple episodes ago, and I think that Diana finding out while it was painful in the moment is going to be so good for them because they can know each other on a more honest level and a more like they can relate to each other and don't have to like fake it anymore.
Exactly. I really like seeing the two of them together. I also like the fact that Lauren calls Diana Diva. Like, that's just her name. And I think Diva Diana, DD, it's something I'm going to probably use for the remaining 2 episodes that we have.
It's so true. I mean, that's her entire aesthetic is diva.
Right? It's so fitting for her. But you know what else is fitting? our other AfterBuzz shows. Tell us why.
Yes, we just want to thank you guys so much for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk. There are so many ways to watch us. If you're watching on YouTube right now, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button so you can see all of our amazing shows, not just in comedies. We have drama, sci-fi, literally like the entire gambit right there. If you're watching on iTunes, give us that 5-star rating and also leave us a comment there. We're also on Spotify, wherever you can listen to podcasts pretty much. So thank you guys so much. You help us do what we love to do, tell a friend and continue watching. And thanks for being here with us every week. We really love hearing you guys in the comments and sharing this awesome show with you.
Yes, the commenters are my friends, such as Miss Fiona M. Last week she said, I've said this before, but Farai is hilarious and he should have his own show.
Agreed.
I mean, he's hilarious. I told her it's going to happen soon. It just has to.
He's such a comedian.
Yes. Speaking of Farai, he's out sick today, and Alice is, she had a work thing to do, so we miss them, but, you know, they're here in spirit, and we still support our friends.
They're not bread-facing.
Yes. Also in the comments was Janelle Deer. She said, where is Liza's daughter? Isn't her daughter the main reason why Liza lied to get her job in the first place? We haven't seen her daughter in, 2 seasons? Good riddance.
I actually miss her. I think she just, like, she always surprises me, and she always adds some spice to things, so I kind of miss her.
No, don't miss her at all.
Bring Caitlyn back. I'm Team Caitlyn
stay
too.
Wherever you are, please.
India again, maybe. Who
maybe.
knows?
We also had a commenter. I hope I don't mess up this name. Supachai Paboon, who says he or she, I apologize, wants more Maggie, and they want Maggie to have a real relationship and to fall in love. And I agree. We need more Maggie in our lives.
She's so good, especially. I mean, we'll get into it obviously with, like, you know, later in this episode, but I love her relationship with Lauren and Josh, and she's just like such a good friend to them.
Yeah, she is. She's a good friend to everyone. And speaking of Josh, Maggie has to help Josh a little bit. So we first of all see that this ad that Josh and Liza are in. Remember when he came to the set and they were just laughing and catching up, and then suddenly it turned into these candid photos that are now the whole Infinitely 21 campaign, which I love, by the way.
It's a really good ad. I have to give it to them. Like, that would make me want to buy clothes too.
I mean, you know, I love Josh a lot, so seeing him do anything would make me, do it. So
not only buy those, but take the clothes off.
Hello. He looked real cute. Josh ended up, so after seeing these ads, Liza spends the entire episode basically trying to avoid Charles from seeing them because she just doesn't want him to freak out. But I mean, everyone can see that the ad is a sign of the love that is between Josh and Liza.
There's chemistry left. Like, I'm team Charles and Liza, but I am also not blind, and I do see the chemistry still there.
Thank you very much. Even the Infinitely 21 folks saw it, and hence making it go from a local regional ad to a national ad.
But okay, this could not have been how this actually works. Like, Josh has to get some of this revenue, right?
Yeah, where's Josh's coins for this?
That's what I'm saying. I'm just like, they have to be getting paid for this.
I mean,
come on.
You know, there are times, like with reality TV, say they're shooting in like a public setting, and you happen to be in a shot, you've already signed an appearance release, which states that you're not going to get paid. We can use your image. But this is a campaign advertisement, so you would think they would have some coins. But it doesn't seem like Josh got some coins for this ad, but so he went to speak to, what's her name, Shelly?
I think so.
The representative for Infinitely 21 to kind of pitch them an idea and say, hey, let's work together. Because he went over to Maggie's house distraught because come to find out Claire wants to take baby Gemma to LA.
Do you want her here in LA with us?
I'll take baby Gemma, but not Claire. Sorry, okay? You know how I feel about her. I thought she was going to say that she was heading back to Ireland, but unfortunately she's coming to the City of Angels here with us. But how did you, when she said that, like, what were your initial thoughts?
It's so hard because on one side I'm like, yes, like, you should, want to further your career. That's what you want to do. Like, this is a great promotion, but it is hard, and it's like Summers is not even like split time custody when you're that far away. It's so hard to like share custody. You can't just like go over on the weekend or something. There's like a lot more things that you have to work out. So I I really felt for Josh, but at the same time, I'm like, I get it. Like, she is kind of broke, and this is a really good opportunity for her.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that she went from being a bartender to a project manager in such a short length of time is amazing to her. It shows her heart, her work ethic, and she does want to provide for her daughter, and she is trying to, like, you know, make a life for herself. But I've just felt bad for Josh because you know how much he loves the baby, and he wants to see her as much as possible, and it's just, like you said, not the same, and he wants to play a bigger role and not just be a summertime dad, you know?
Yeah, and he's not the type, because I know Maggie was like, you know, you should fight for custody, but he's not the type to do that. He doesn't want to cause friction, you know, or resentment for Gemma when she gets older. He doesn't want to cause more problems and, like, hardship on them. So, like, he's not going to be the one to be super aggressive with that. That's just not his, like, in his, you know, in his personality.
Yeah, it was funny. You could see the difference between Claire and Josh when Claire was like, well, I'm worried about college tuition. You know, it's going to be so expensive in a few years. And here goes optimistic Josh, like, he's saying, or it could be free.
True.
I was like, that's the spirit, Josh. Keep, you know, optimistic about everything. I love that. So he goes to Infinitely 21, pitches them this idea, like, hey, let's do a collab where I bring Inkberg to your stores, and we have like a pop-up kind of where people get ink, like, tatted in the storefront window on Broadway, which is a huge street, and they get exclusive, you know, Infinitely only 21 ads, tattoos, which I thought that was a really cute idea.
I did too, and I think especially in a place like New York, that would be a huge appeal. Like, I can't see that working in, like, a smaller town somewhere else, but people in New York love a pop-up, and they love to be seen, so I think that would actually work out super well.
Yeah.
I was surprised, though, because I kind of thought he was gonna, like, try to model for them.
That's
more.
what I thought. I thought he was gonna pitch them, like, to be a model or be like, where's my money? Like, tell them, pull the ads or something like that. So,
but this is a cool idea, and I think it could lead to more opportunities. Are lots of tattoo shops, like, franchised? Is that a thing?
I mean, only tattoo shops I know are on the VH1 shows, like Black Ink Crew Chicago, Black Ink Crew Crenshaw, you know, so I don't know. Do you have any tattoos?
I do. I have one on my ankle.
Oh, look at you. I don't have any. I'm still trying to figure out the one thing that I want to put on my body for the rest of my life.
Only have Josh do it, though.
Of course. Of course. I mean, he can put it anywhere. So, in other relationship news, long story short, wait, back to Josh, I'm sorry, because I want to move on to Kelsey and Zayn real quick.
Yeah.
Josh ends up, Infinitely 21, ends up deciding, yeah, we really want to do this with you, which I loved. It shows him growing as a businessman, you know, and it showed a different side of him.
For sure, and it's cool to see how much it has expanded. Like, I know his tattoo shop was always popular since the beginning, but it's cool to, you know, see him finding new innovative ways to keep growing it, and I'm excited. I hope we get to, like, see the pop-up. I think it would be fun and see who comes around.
That would be very cool. We also see just how torn Liza is about being in this ad with him. She is not happy at all. She's shocked. She asked Kelsey to prevent Charles from seeing it when they go to Chicago, which we'll get into. But Kelsey has, you know, in addition to work issues, she and Zayn in this episode, we see them waking up together. He's being supportive. And Kelsey, you know, they seem to be doing well in this episode. I was like, huh. Look at you two.
I know. I'm almost nervous because I feel like they always have these peaks and valleys.
I know.
But I hope they stay on this high for a while because it's nice to see them happy.
Very much so.
And they are cute when they're not going at each other's throats.
I know. And I like Kelsey needs someone to kind of to help her, like, be by her side during this difficult time. Like, they just lost this money from Quinn. Work has been stressful, you know, with this information about Liza coming out. Charles, you know, a couple of months ago, they were, like, threatening them. You know, they were at head-to-head, fighting head-to-head for the same publisher. So a lot has happened for Kelsey. In addition, Kelsey and Charles head to Chicago to try to, you know, wrestle up some money for the Millennial and
no, not Empirical anymore. Venus?
Is it just Millennial now? I thought they had a combo name. I can't remember, but for the company, we'll call it the company.
The company.
And they go to Chicago.
Mercury, sorry.
Mercury. That's what I was
gonna
like.
hate myself if I just left it at Venus because I know it wasn't right.
You know, it's Wednesday. It's been a long day for us, so thank you. So they go to Chicago and they meet with this company that's in metals. Ironically,
Yeah,
there's a lot of M's there.
industry.
Millennial, Mercury, and metals. It's a.
Ooh.
I know.
That would have been a great episode title name.
So they meet with these gentlemen who are not in the publishing business and basically have to persuade them, like, hey, this is why you should get into business with us. And Kelsey does a great job. When she is a boss, you know, I love the way she spins things and has people explains millennial the millennial thought process to people that are a little bit older. Because she doesn't do it in a condescending way. She's like, hey, let me tell you why this should make sense to you. Because they definitely ask, like, hey, how does social media translate into dollars for you?
Yeah, she was so passionate about it and so informed. And I honestly thought that was going to go a different way just because I feel like they started out sort of condescending in that room. I just saw them throwing little hints of shade here and there. So I'm so glad that she really, like, stepped up and did such a good job. And like, I was like, whoa, I was like on the verge of tears. I was just so happy she's grown so much and she can seriously hold her own even in these really intimidating rooms.
I know. She also always looks amazing. Yes. She had on, I don't know if those were leather pants, and I'm not saying I'm here for the killing of the animals, but those pants were amazing and she looked great.
Yeah.
So back to the meeting. She kills it in this meeting, and she and Charles head out to celebrate.
As they should.
Yes, because she was they paperwork wasn't signed, but they heard that, you know, they got a verbal confirmation that the deal was sealed. And she was so cute. She was like, okay, they said this, but are you sure? Like, that moment where she was going to Charles for advice, I thought was super cute.
I did too. But you knew something was going to happen overnight because when the ink is not dry and the deal is not signed, like, you just know there's going to be one more wrench before, like, it actually happens.
And of course, that's exactly what happened. So Liza shows up to try to prevent Charles from hearing that this Infinitely 21 ad has gone national, and she crashes the drinks with Kelsey and Charles, and Kelsey is annoyed by them smooching in front of her. Which, have you been there before where you're like the only single person and people like are all coupled up or literally making out in front of you?
Even if you're not coupled up, like, just like overly like doing a PDA, it's like, okay, we're literally at a bar, like, and it's not even a dark bar, like, this is a straight up extremely lit like hotel bar. We need to calm down a little.
Like, get a room, literally, please.
It wasn't even midnight because I saw on her phone it was 12:12 and she passed out. I was like, guys,
calm down.
Come on.
I know. I mean, I know Liza and Charles are so happy and in love, but get a room. It's just not cute. So Kelsey is a tipsy, and tipsy Kelsey is never a good situation. No. She always gets in trouble, and she ends up taking a selfie. Well, she takes an Instagram story slide that she means to DM to Zayn, and it ends up going on her stories to everybody and potentially messes up this deal that is not signed yet. Yeah. I know.
Poor thing. Like, she just wanted to, like, she was feeling good, she was feeling sexy, she wanted to be fun, it's her new boo, and of course girl, you're a social media genius. You need to make sure, I don't care how drunk you are, you need to hit the right button or text it. Like, why are we Instagram DMing this?
Well, I would have loved if Lauren had her password to have deleted that sooner.
Lauren, did you see her? She did not care. She was like, "No, good for you." I was like, Lauren, you should be better at this than you are, for considering the experience you bring to the table.
I know she was, but she was surprised because she was like, "Okay, Kelsey, what are you doing here?" She kind of was a little surprised by it, but Kelsey the next day is super nervous about whether or not this has killed the deal for she and Charles. So they go into this meeting and they're nervous. They're like, okay, we don't know what's going to happen. Meanwhile, Liza's still like trying to hide this ad from Charles and finally comes clean. And Charles is a little disturbed. What do you think shook him when Liza mentioned this ad to him and brought it up?
I don't know. I think it was mostly surprise, and obviously there's going to be weird feelings there just because they had such a history. But I was glad that he wasn't like super like territorial. Like, I feel like he had a reaction that was a valid reaction.
Yeah. So Liza decides to tell Charles that she's not gonna see Josh anymore.
Okay. We'll see about that.
Why? Do you think that was a bit extreme? Like, I feel like Liza was doing a lot of extreme things. Like, she left Kleinfeld's and went straight to Chicago immediately, and then she's, on the other extreme, she's telling Charles, "Hey, I'm not going to see Josh anymore." Like, what? Like, what are you doing, Liza?
I think that she is just sort of panicking. That she's like, "Oh, I keep letting Charles see the past that we had and almost reminding him," and so I think that she's like, I just need to cut it off, before this spins more out of control. And so I think it was more almost for herself than him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She needs to remove that temptation.
I think it was more for him than her. I feel like she feels guilty about them losing Quinn as an investor and the fact that her age is what has caused all these issues. So I feel like she's just trying to salvage this relationship and just do anything to keep Charles from getting upset or getting mad at her. I don't know.
I think she's trying to prove both to herself and to him, okay, it's really over.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of both in a way.
Yeah.
She needs to prove that it's really done and I'm all in with this other relationship.
But Charles, he's like, "Are you sure?" He was like, "Why did you feel the need to fly over here?" He's like, "Everyone has a past." And I thought that was really interesting. He's like, "Okay, I would have been cool with it, but what made you feel so guilty?"
Well, he hasn't really shown that he was extremely jealous yet, has he? I can't really think of any occasions where he's been super unsupportive of them ever hanging out.
In the beginning, when he first met Josh, they both were like, "Huh, you're the boss, and you're the boyfriend." So,
right.
But you're right; it hasn't been anything extreme. He, Charles is a confident guy, but I think he's maybe shown a tinge of just suspicion, but nothing crazy. Even when they went to the place where they took the LSD.
Yeah, because especially since Charles and Liza have been together,
mm-hmm.
I don't think that he's ever been really oh, you can't see him anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Never
I think he's
given her
fairly
ultimatum.
reasonable.
Yeah.
And I think he does trust her now for the most part.
I don't think she trusts herself.
Yeah, I think that's true too.
Yeah, and speaking of trust, so Kelsey and Charles are at this meeting, and she is telling the investors, "Listen, I'm so sorry for this story that was on my Instagram." First of all, she made the mistake of making coworkers follow her. I think that's a no-no. What do your thoughts?
Yeah, and I think it wasn't just coworkers. I think it was just the fact that she has all of this following, from New York Times bestseller. It was all of her business is there too, and the investors, because she was like, "This is my handle. Make sure to follow me so you can be updated." So it's the fact that they follow her now too. That's probably the first thing they see from her account. Yikes.
Yeah. So this follow request bit her in the behind or in the boob.
Hey.
Because they decided that Kelsey actually should, separate her work life from her private life, and they would prefer to have Charles head millennial.
I felt so sad for her.
Oh my gosh.
But honestly, I'm really proud that she did that almost, because it shows, I think, so much maturity. And I think especially at the beginning of this, and she was grasping so hard at I need to have this power, I need to assert this power. And so the fact that she's thinking about what's best for the company, in this time, in this situation, rather than herself, I think was really mature of her. And even though I'm sad and it's not necessarily fair, I was almost happy she did that, because it shows a lot of growth and just she's really the bigger person and setting aside her own thoughts and feelings about it.
Do you think had this happened a couple seasons back, Kelsey would have reacted in the same way? Do you think she would have been hell no, Charles, I'm not giving up my spot to you?
100%.
Yeah,
I think that she definitely would have reacted differently a couple seasons ago.
Yeah.
She's just evolved so much, which is great.
Yeah.
Even this season, I think that just being in that role has almost made her see that. She's okay, this company is more important than my own ambitions or my own feelings about it.
Yeah, I think her growth is amazing. She said to Charles during that when they were out for drinks, "This company means so much to me." I mean, she started out as an intern there, and then she became this running her own imprint. So they've given her so much. So I feel like this is her sacrifice for them, because especially where they are right now, they have no other investor options. This was the one shot that they had to get more money for the company. So what would they do had she pushed back a little bit on it, they wouldn't have had anything.
I honestly do think that Charles would have supported her though if she did like fight for it, because I feel like Charles respects her too, especially after like he saw her do that in the meeting. I think that if she would have pushed back and be like, that's not really fair for you to judge me like this, like I'm still in control, I feel like Charles would have backed her up, to be honest. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, he stood up for her actually. She was ready to fall back. I think she just got so caught off guard by that request, and Charles was actually saying, no, I think that it's best for Kelsey to do this. And I was like, thank you, Charles. We appreciate that.
See, when they're a team, it's beautiful.
I know.
I wonder if they could be like co-editor. You know what I mean?
Okay, I like that. Okay.
Maybe not right now, but maybe later. Because I like that little power duo.
Okay. And it separates him. Like, he can't work so close with Liza because they're in a relationship. But, you know, him and Kelsey, I like that together. Or Diana.
I love it. She's marketing though, right? She's like not exactly the same. Because I even was like, ooh, maybe they'll like make Liza the head. For a split second I was like, maybe they'll do something crazy and make Liza be in charge of everything. But I feel like she is definitely still too green, and like, but I was just like, she has all of this like ammunition now. She's such a big face because of this campaign. Well,
that leads us to some of our special segments, because we can actually talk more about that in predictions. So let's get into our special segment, Youngerisms.
Yes. In case you guys didn't know, if this is your first time tuning in, Youngerisms is when we just say some of our favorite lines, because the show always has the absolute best quotes from so many characters. Everyone's just so well written. It's such a witty, fun, pop culture dialogue. So, do you have some faves?
Yes. I liked when Zayn said, he was talking to Kelsey about how he would approach the meeting, and he said, I would just use every asset that I have. And Kelsey says, I guess I have more assets than you. I was like, good. Ew. And then I loved when Lauren, when Liza confronted Lauren about the ad, the Infinitely 21 ad, and why they used that picture. Lauren was like, this emoji. And she throws her hands up. I just thought it was super funny. And my final was when Josh said, just because you love someone doesn't mean they'll stick around.
That was so sad.
Beautiful, Josh.
Damn, you got dark. We got deep on this Youngerism.
Sorry, you know,
my favorite line was the super crushing one. I really liked a moment I thought was so funny was when Liza had just shown Charles the picture in the newspaper, and Kelsey comes busting in, and Liza goes, he saw it, and Kelsey goes, Charles saw my boobs? And then I also loved when they were wedding dress shopping, Lauren was like, Diana Charles is not walking down the aisle looking like a spring roll. I love those so much.
I thought it was so funny because Liza the whole episode was like worried about herself, and everyone's like, no, Kelsey's like, no, there's other things going on in the world, Liza.
When did this become about you?
Exactly. So thank you very much. That concludes our Youngerism segment. But let's get into some news and gossip from this week.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Hard hitting.
Yes. So, you know, during the week I chromed the Instas of my favorite cast members, which is everyone. And so I love to share my favorites with you guys. So the first one is by Zayn, Mr. Charles Davis, 2020. What I love about this image is Charles has been traveling, and I've been basically on all his travels with him because he's been posting amazing pictures.
Just not getting a suitcase. It's fine.
I've been with him. But that first image of them on the beach, he is with one of my old school boos, Brian Greenberg. Oh. So you know how handsome Zayn and aka Charles is, and to think that he's hanging out with Brian Greenberg surfing. Brian Greenberg was on this show on HBO called How to Make It in America. That's where I first fell in love with him, and he's married to Jamie Chin, if that, you know.
Okay.
And he's also a musician, so heart emojis with that. Also, Zayn, we see another beautiful photo from him, just of the mountain. So if you go to his Instagram, you'll see like everywhere he's been, which has been really cool. So our next image is of from Nico Tortorella, aka Josh, with posting from the ads. So that's actually a bus ad, and I was like, is that really happening in New York?
I love when it gets so meta like that, and the ads are actually in real life as well as on the show. That's so cool.
Isn't that cute? I was like, can you imagine just walking down the street in New York and seeing that? I'd be like, my show.
That's so fun. I love that.
So then he also posted another ad from the side of a bus station. How cool.
It's a damn good picture.
Isn't it? So then finally, so today I was at work minding my business and somebody pulled out a mug and you'll see an image of the mug and it says millennial on it.
I want that.
Isn't that cute?
Did you ask him where they got it?
So he actually worked on the show.
Oh my god.
I know. We have another image of the other side. It says younger. So I saw the younger part first and I was like, what? Where'd you get this mug? And he was like, oh, I worked on the show. And it was just really cool because think about like coming to work and having a real millennial mug. Like
that's so cute.
Isn't that adorable? So I thought it felt really real. That's what I love. So
oh my gosh, I'm gonna look on Redbubble because they have a bunch of like fun TV things and see if they have something similar because I really want one of those now.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Also, remember Charles's book is a real book that's currently out right now. I forgot to take a picture of that, but yeah.
love that.
Don't forget to get that so you guys can read the new edition of Younger and Charles's book.
Guys, you just know Diana Trout is behind this marketing for the show.
Yes,
because it's so good.
And Lauren.
Yes.
And Lauren. So that leads us to our predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I'll start with you, Taylor.
Okay, I think that this whole Claire going to LA thing, I don't know, something. I'm telling you, I don't think it's his kid. And I've been saying this, but I think something weird is going to come out about her because she was so sketchy last time we saw her, and she's been so normal this season.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't buy it for some reason. So I think something's going to come out of that. I really hope that we see Diana's wedding, and maybe that's going to be like the season finale or something. But I really hope that happens, and you know there's going to be drama if whenever there's a wedding on this show. So I can definitely see that happening. And yeah, I hope we see more Maggie, like the commenter, and I hope we see her with her current girlfriend, right? They're still together.
We haven't seen her for about 2 episodes, so hopefully she's back. The counselor lady.
Yeah, I hope
they were
we see more of them and more of Maggie doing her art thing.
Yes. I think we're going to see someone pair up with Charles now that Kelsey's no longer running Millennial. He's going to be the head, but I think he's going to bring somebody in, and it could be her new boo, Zayn.
Yeah, it's possible.
Because you know he's always ready to, like he said, use his assets to get to where he needs to. So that could cause some conflict in their relationship. Also, yes, as we prep for this epic Diva Diana wedding, I think the prep is going to be amazing. Also, we're going to see some conflicts between her and Enzo's mother. Hopefully, one of the commenters and I were talking about how ugly the dresses may be for the bridesmaids. So
I hope so. There's nothing better.
One of the commenters said there's definitely going to be a hat involved.
Absolutely. Oh, I wonder if like Liza and Kelsey will be her bridesmaids.
Wouldn't that be cute?
That'd be pure.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see that. And then, it seems like our girl Liza is struggling with her feelings for Josh, this ad. And I guess other things have just kind of, he's never left. And he's been such a big part of her life. She can't just let him go, and these feelings are still there, and I think these feelings are going to cause some problems in these last 2 episodes of Younger for the season.
But we're already renewed for season 7,
yes,
which is
we
amazing.
are. Yes, we are. So thank you guys for being with us this episode. We'll be back next Wednesday. In the meantime, you can find me on Instagram at SayHiSahai, and where can they find you, Taylor?
You guys can find me on Twitter at @alphabet_Ann and on Instagram at Taylor_Gates_.
Perfect. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Miriam, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.